Now, before I get started on this episode, there's something I'd like to speak to you about, something that I consider very serious, and it has to do with neglect. Right now, there's a member of your household that's not getting the love it deserves. It's not your mom and your dad. It's not your sister or your brother. It's not an in-law. It's not a cousin. It's not an aunt or uncle. But it is a very important part of your household. It's always there when you need it. It never complains. And it works 24/7, 365 days a year without complaint. Its counterparts in the bathroom, the living room, the bedroom, even the basement get far more attention. But today, we're going to bring attention to it. For today, I'm going to show you how to give love to the hardest working part of your household, your friend and mine, the refrigerator. In most households, it's plain, it's a white surface, maybe a gray surface. You put some magnets on it, maybe some photos, but the refrigerator could be so much more. So I'm going to show you how to take this fridge and make it into the ultimate playing surface. We spend a lot of time in our kitchen, but no one really gives thought to the kitchen as a great place to entertain. So what we're going to do is take our friend the fridge and make it into a place to play any type of game. More specifically, we're going to take a classic like checkers, and I'm going to show you how to make a simple magnetized checkered board. In order to make a refrigerator checkers board, all we need is 8 basic materials, and all could be bought at a local dollar store for $1 each. So what we need is a piece of white Bristol board, a ruler, a circle guide, some color markers, just use 4 colors out of them, choose any 4 colors you like, a black marker, a pencil, a pair of scissors, and 4 pieces of magnetic sheets. So again, you could get all of these at your local dollar store. Now here's an example of the standard checkerboard. There's 8 squares across by 8 squares down. It's a perfect square. And what I did is that each square is 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches. So it's actually 12 by 12 inches all the way around, which is the size of your standard ruler. And of course, each square alternates in color. So it goes in a diagonal pattern, each color. So what we're going to do is, that's the basic outline we're going to do for this grid. Each square is going to be 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches all the way across for a total of 12 inches. And that's going to make up our grid. So taking our plain white piece of Bristol board, all we need to do is again just line up the ruler at one end and just make a notch every 1.5 inches all the way across. Once you have your notches all the way across, that encompasses the whole ruler. All you have to do is move it off to the other side and do the same thing across this side. On the other side, do the 1.5 inches this way, and then on the bottom side again, and then you just connect all the lines once you have the 1.5 inches plotted around the whole perimeter. And once that's done, you'll have a finished basic grid. So now that our grid is done, this is what it will look like. Simple pencil grid. Now, I do this in pencil before marker just in case any mistakes are made, because it's always possible. But now that we have the basic grid plotted out in pencil, what I'm going to do is go over the lines with the marker, the black marker, to make sure that the lines are permanent. And there you have it. So there's the finished grid with the black marker. All that's left to do now is the coloring. Now when it comes to actually putting the coloring into the grid, this is completely up to your discretion. Just make sure that you use 2 separate colors. I'm going to use red and yellow as my base colors for the checkers on the board. But again, use your 2 favorite colors and then choose another 2 favorite colors for the actual pieces. So there's always a difference. So now with the grid, what we need to do, and again with the standard checkerboard, is that each color must alternate. So the easiest way to do is, once you have your 2 colors, just plot it out so you don't make any mistakes. So what I do is I put a red dot there, yellow dot here, red dot, just so you can keep track of where you're putting everything, because you don't want 2 colors right beside each other. So now that we're finished coloring, this is what my finished grid looks like, with the red and the yellow colors I chose. As you can see, they go down in diagonal directions, just like a checkerboard is supposed to be, and no 2 colors are right beside each other. It's always alternating. So this is what the finished grid looks like. And all you have to do after this is cut it out. So you just cut around the border and then we'll have our finished grid. What we need to do next is make the actual playing pieces. And that's where this great tool comes in handy. It's a metric circle tool, and you can make a multitude of different circles. Now, it doesn't really matter which circle size you decide to use as long as it fits into each square. So pretty much except for the biggest one here, all of these fit inside these squares. And all we're going to do is just use basic colors of the markers to fill in the circles. So just put the circle tool towards the squares and just choose which one you feel is the best size. Now for checkers you need 12 for each player, so 12 circle pieces per player. So all in all 24 pieces. So what you need to do is just grab some spare Bristol board. When you actually cut out the grid, you're going to have leftover Bristol board, and all you're going to do is trace the same size circle 24 times for that. And then once we have our circles traced out and of course our cutout grid, we're going to all put it onto the magnets. So now that we got our scrap piece of Bristol board and we got our circle guide here, all I'm going to do is just make some circles. Now usually I would use pencil for this, but because of the circle guide I'm not really afraid of making a mistake. So I'm just going to go straight with the marker. I got my chosen circle. All I'm going to do is just start making the circles. Now I need 24, so I'm going to do rows of 6. Try to make them as close as possible but not actually touching each other because we want to be able to cut them out. Very simple to do, just all along. I'm going to make my 4 rows of 6. There we go. We got our 4 rows of 6, 24 pieces. Half will be one color, half will be another. And once you've chosen your 2 colors to use, we're going to color them in, cut them out, and then we're almost done. And the next step will be to put them onto the actual magnet after coloring them. So now here's my finished playing pieces. I chose green and blue as my colors, 12 of each, all colored out, and I just cut it out. So now we have our board and we have our playing pieces. So the next step is to put the actual magnetic sheet on the back of it. As I showed you before, you can get these magnetic sheets at the dollar store. They come in pretty much set sizes. And the great thing about these things is that they actually have the adhesive on one side. So you just simply pull off the white plastic coating on the back of it and it has an adhesive. So you can pretty much stick this straight onto the back of it. So all you need to do is, with the pieces, take one of the magnetic sheets, take off the wax plastic part and stick it onto this, and then we'll cut it out after. Now with the board, you need about 3 pieces of these magnetic sheets to go onto the back of it. So just take in the back, you just put 1, 2 pieces, and then for the bottom, you take a 3rd piece, cut it in half, and those half pieces should fit on the back. So in total, 3 pieces will fit on the back of the board. So let me just stick these down on here. Now, let me show you. Here's the board again. I'll just give you to show you the back, and I left little gaps so you can see the difference. So here's one magnetic piece, here's another, and then these 2 magnetic pieces here were the same size as this one right here. I just cut them in half and put them at the bottom, so the whole board is now covered. So now it's fully magnetized and could go onto any magnetic surface. Now here's the one with the actual playing pieces. You can see there's a little bit of magnet all around. This is the sticky adhesive side. But all we need to do is cut these out and they'll be completely done and the game is ready to be played. So there you have it. The one place that hasn't been utilized is now being utilized as a complete entertainment center. It's just not a place to keep our food. We could play games. And the first game is our own checkers. Magnetic checkers that could use different types of games to be played, and we could have a blast. And so I am Luonga Nuomi, your homemade game guru, and I can't wait to show you other concepts for not only the kitchen but all the other places in your home.